Welcome back po. Welcome back to LIRA in Law. Broadcasting live from the UK, from London, England. Ako pong host nyo, Lira Simong Kabata. Thank you for joining me. Ang pag-uusapan po natin nga ngayon, big topic as usual, which is divorcing in the United Kingdom but with an immigration twist. Now, so tingnan muna natin yung proseso. Now, before I'll show you the process nga step by step. But just to say, nung nagbago ng batas, so dati, before the 6th of April 2022, kailangan yung pakita na yung hindi nga lang na the irretrievable breakdown of marriage, but also that either unreasonable behavior, or kaya 5-year separation, or kaya 2-year separation, or desertion, or adultery dati, no? From the 6th of April 2022, so only a little over, well, actually over a year ago now, nearly 2 years now, nagbago nga po ang batas. So binago nila, and actually it's a good change. Sometimes changes in the law is not always good, but I think on the whole, it was a good change, and it was actually high time na ginawa nga nila yon. So ang ngayon, they now have what's called no fault divorce. So wala kang kailangan ng pakitang may kasalanan nga. But it's still not it's a simpler process, but it's not a simple process. Okay. So it's still quite it still needs quite a bit of thinking, at saka kung hindi kayo sigurado, you should seek legal advice. Then hindi nga lang divorce often ang situation, ang issue. Divorce comes with maybe mga bata, kung meron kayong mga anak, and of course divorce not of course, but often divorce comes also with money. Clean break, for example. Pero focus po natin ngayon, divorce. Now, papakita ko sa inyo yung proseso, and then I'll pick out nga certain issues to look at. And yung nga, sabi ko nga kanina, importante nga, we applied also with the immigration twist, because I think that is what confuses people. So, tignan ko nga lang, papakita ko sa inyo yung steps for divorce. So, the long ones and left, that's ito po. So, that's part of it. So, yan po. So, makita nyo yan. So, I've just noted it, no? Kung meron ka, mamaya, kung gusto nyo makita nga yung, you want a copy of this, just email me sa lirainlaw@douglas-simon.com. Tapos, papadala ko ito sa inyo. But, taking it from the top, I'll zoom through it, no? Because you can read that through later on now. So steps in divorce, una po, no? So after the 6th of April 2022, una nga, no fault divorce na. So hindi nyo kailangang sabihin nga na ay nagbabae siya, o naglalaki siya, o kaya umalis siya, iniwan ka, ganon. You don't need to do that now. It's a no fault divorce. Terminology, nagbago nga din, no? So dati po, ang tawag sa divorce petition, well, it was divorce petition ang tawag until the 6th of April 2022. Ang ngayon na, you say you're making an application. Tawag na. So that's obviously quite a big change. Now, dati po, the stage before the final divorce, ang tawag nga decree nisi. Ngayon, ang tawag na nga conditional order. Tapos yung last order, the one that divorces you, dating tawag decree absolute. Ngayon ang tawag na nga final order. Now, tingnan ko nga lang if I can just show you the second page nga to this terminology. So, nagbago nga yan. Now, ngayon nga din, by comparison to before, you can make a joint application. So, kung pareho nga kayo gusto nyo yung divorce and you want to do it jointly so that you're both in charge of the divorce, no? You can make actually a joint application. Dati, pre-6 of April 2022, you couldn't do that. One had to be the petition, the other one had to be the respondent. Ngayon, you can even make a joint application, which is actually very good, no? Online system. Now, again, perhaps not so new, pero ngayon na, you can create an account, no? My HMCTS, ang tawag, HMCTS. You create an account and you can start the petition nga online. You can do it on paper, and also nga you can also do it online. Kung meron kayong mga abogado, we need to do it online. So that's online system. May bayad po. So when you apply for your petition for divorce, may bayad £593 ang bayad po. Now, tingnan ko nga, and so, once you've submitted nga online, yung application, mangyayari divorce process, okay? Now, this takes a bit, ito, mga tao lagi either hindi nga nila alam kung nakakalimutan nila. And your solicitor should also explain this, yung abogado nyo. Bago kayo makaka-apply nga ng divorce, kailangan nandito kayo nakatira, no? We'll talk about the habitual resident in a moment, pero nandito kayo nakatira 1 taon, minimum po yun. And you also need to be married at least 1 year. The competition for divorce before that. So kailangan yung pakita nga yun. Yun ang una. Otherwise, the court will not have nga jurisdiction. So as I've said, commencing divorce proceedings, you create an account with HMCPS, makikita nga nila doon, and then you do it online. It's frankly, doing it online is far easier than doing it on paper. Mas mabilis pa. That's why, pagka yung asawa nyo, kung meron siyang email, also make sure that you get that, no? Because it's far easier for the court to send nga emails, no? Now, when that's been done, when you commence divorce proceedings nga, let me just see about the second page nga dito. Let's have a look if there's a second page. Or maybe ito nga, no? So, serving the application, yung divorce petition nga, now called application. Kailangan yung, pagka nag-issue kayo ngayon, okay, kailangan yung ipadala yun, i-serve, that's what they say, serving the petition, within 28 days of issue, okay? Otherwise, you have issues with the court. It becomes potentially invalid. So you have to serve it within 28 days. They don't have to acknowledge it within 28 days, pero kailangan yung padala either by email or nga by allowing for postal nga within 28 days po. Okay? And then, of course, pagka nakuha na ng asawa nyo, they then have 14 days to reply. Okay? Yung acknowledgement ang kailangan nilang so kailangan ibalik nga sa korte. Ano ba gagawin nila? Do they agree? Do they not agree? Are they looking to defend? They have 14 days nga to do that. No? Tapos, once the respondent, tawag nga sa kanila, respondent, yung asawa nyo, has done that. Now, let me just see if I can get to the next page nga. Yeah. So, the next thing is, so sabihin natin, nag-petition na nga, nag-apply na nga kayo, napasok na yung application, sumagot na siya, sabi niya, walang problema. Now, what's the next step? You can then make an application for a conditional order, but beware, okay? Ito nga, I've highlighted it. You need to have that confirmation, yung application for the conditional order cannot be made until 20 weeks, no? Has elapsed from the start of the proceedings. A long time, no? But that's it's a safety measure really na gusto nga nilang siguraduhin na talagang gusto niyong gawin. No? So it allows people really to think about it. So from the start nga until the start of the proceedings, you need to be able to show nga 20 weeks after, okay? Tapos, pagka nakuha na niya ang conditional order and they grant it, what then happens? Then you can make an application nga for the final order. Yun. So, there'll be another a further 6 weeks until the final order can be applied for. So, meron nakakuha ng conditional order, you have another 6 weeks on top of that to get then the final order. So, talagang may mga there's time nga, no, deadlines. It's really to allow people to think about it. Yung ba talagang gusto nilang gawin. So that is really the application, the steps you need to undertake in order nga to get divorce. Now, things to watch out for, okay? So nga, sabi ko, you need to be married for 1 year po, okay? No exception to that. You need to be married for 1 year. You also need to be living in the United Kingdom for 1 year. I'm going to follow that up, the issue nga of habitual residence. Now, kung ako kayo, so if you, sabihin natin gusto nyo magpakasal sa ibang tao, kung ako kayo, I would not just you look at the effectively 6.5 months, which is the 20 weeks and then another 6 weeks, because inevitably may delay, sabihin natin, o kaya hindi siya basta-basta sumagot yung asawa nyo. So my experience is you should really allow to be on the safe side 9 months. So it takes a while, from beginning to the end, provided of course the respondent, yung asawa nyo, replies. Kung hindi nga siya sasagot, baka matagalan pa, because you may need to make an application for an order to continue kahit hindi nga siya sumagot. Now, so yung nga, kailangan yung kasal a minimum nga of 1 year, and you need to have been living also in the United Kingdom for 1 year. Now, this is where it gets a bit complex. The issue of habitual resident. But let's look at that in relation to different scenarios. So ito pong mga sitwasyon na I often come across. So scenario 1, kasal kayo sa Pilipinas, but dito na kayo nakatira, no? So it happens, no? It's kinasal nga kayo doon, maganda nga pumasok nga, dumating nga kayo dito, baka may mga bata, o isang nandito, kinuha niya, and then you've decided actually, you no longer wish to be married. So you're married in the Philippines, but both now living in the United Kingdom. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2, kasal kayo sa atin, pero yung asawa nyo, nakatira pa rin sa Pilipinas. Pero ikaw, nandito ka na, no? Third scenario, kasal kayo sa Pilipinas, dito kayo nakatira, pero hindi ka pa indefinite, so hindi ka pa settled status, o hindi ka pa Briton, o wala kang visa, overstayer. Titignan din natin yun. So tingnan muna natin options 1 and 2. Okay, scenarios 1 and 2. Now, that goes, ang una nilang titignan, so kasal nga kayo sa atin, no? And most people, they say to me, or a lot of people, they say to me, well, kinasal kami sa Pilipinas, doon kami kailangan mag-petition nga. No, wala naman tayong divorce sa atin, annulment lang, no? So I often say to them, no, hindi nyo kailangan mag-annul nga sa atin in order to say get rid of the marriage in the United Kingdom. And of course, kung meron nga kayong divorce dito, valid po yun dito at saka sa mga ibang bansa, but not the Philippines. Okay? That's ating nga walang divorce unless you take another step, and that step is not always available to you, which is an application for recognition of a foreign decree. But it may not be available to you. But it could be if you're both British na nga dito. So yun, so importante nga na alam nyo, you can. So kahit nga kasal kayo sa atin, nandito kayo, o yung ikaw, nandito kayong pareho, o ikaw nga lang nandito, you can petition for divorce, no? Now, it hinges on, ang tawag nga nila, habitual resident. Okay? That goes back really to, yung sabi ko, kailangan nandito ka 1 year. It's in that thing, no? Now, you will hear reference to ang tawag nga, habitual resident o kaya domicile. Okay? Iba po yung dalawang yun. No? Domicile is more about your citizenship. Pero kailangan yung pakita, hindi nga lang na domicile, but you also need to show habitual residence. So you could be domiciled elsewhere, but you must be habitually resident in the UK. So between the two, kailangan pakita yung habitual residence. Now, ang pinaka malaking kaso doon, ang tawag nga Marinos against Marinos. It was actually a Greek case, no? So kailangan yung pakita, what's habitual resident? No? Kailangan yung pakita na you are UK is your home effectively, no? Ang tawag nga nila, there's some kind of permanence or stability of your residence in the United Kingdom. This is the UK is the location, the center of the person's interest. Yung nga sabi niya yung kasong yun. So basically, itong ang UK, ang trato mo sa UK, this is your home, no? If that's the case, then you are likely to be considered to have habitual resident. Now, kung habitual resident kayo, kung doon kayo kinasal sa atin, o pero nandito kayo na pareho, o kinasal kayo sa atin, yung asawa nyo nga nandun pa rin, the court will still be able to look at divorce proceedings and grant grant your application and grant you nga a final order, decree absolute ang tawag nga dati. So you can get that means you get the divorce in the United Kingdom. Okay? So, yung nga, importante po yung habitual resident. Now, let's take it one step further. And this is actually a fairly common scenario, no? So let's look at the third possibility. Kasal kayo sa atin, okay? Pero dito na kayo, pero wala kang visa, overstayer ka. No? Pero matagal ka na dito, for your purpose, you are already this is now home. It could be na meron kang panibagong partner, for example, nga dito, o meron kayong anak. No? So, this is UK now is home. Wala ka nga lang visa. Pwede ka pa rin bang mag-issue ng application o ng divorce nga dito? Okay? The answer is yes, you can. No? Because you will still be deemed to have habitual resident. The habitual resident nga is you're treating the UK your home. It is not so much. It still can be looked at in relation to immigration nga yung status nyo, but less so. So kung kahit wala kang visa, if you regard the UK as your home with permanency, no, then the court should have the jurisdiction to look at divorce. So mga tao na akala nila wala nga silang visa dito, hindi sila pwedeng mag-petition nga o mag-apply nga ng divorce. Mali po yun. Pero dahil nga may problema nga yung immigration, it may be good to see a solicitor. So sabihin nyo nga anong sitwasyon and explain to them what your facts are, and then they should be able to say to you, no, meron bang pwede ba yung divorce o hindi, no? Because if you regarded not to have habitual resident, then the court will not nga have jurisdiction. Now, just on that, importante nga din po to. Sabihin natin, sometimes nga mga tao, no, someone wants to petition, say, in America, o kaya sa annulment nga sa Pilipinas, o kaya sa Germany, ganoon, no? So, usually, who issues first, no, if both have jurisdiction, retains the jurisdiction. So, ibig sabihin, kung gusto nyo dito mangyari, alam nyo naman yung asawa nyo, gusto niya mag-petition sa Amerika siya, gawin nyo immediately. Okay? Kung silang mauna, it could be that the court says dito, kahit mag-issue ka nga, it could be the court says, oh, well, no, there's nothing we can do. Dahil the US also has jurisdiction, pero nauna sila nga doon. So, kung yun ang balak nyo, kung natatakot nga kayo na baka mag-issue siya sa US, hindi ka naman pwedeng basta-basta pumunta sa US, then you should issue sooner not rather than later. So it's not it's actually quite it can be quite complex nga, no? But as I say, it becomes even more complex kung meron nga kayong immigration issue. And sometimes nga both go hand in hand, no? That you issue divorce proceedings, tapos pagkatapos na yon, you want to then marry or remarry someone else, and then immigration also comes into it. So, importante nga po, you get your timing also right. Now, anong kailangan nyo pakita? Anong kailangan nyo in order to issue, apply for divorce? Two things nga, no? And yung kailangan yung marriage contract nyo, kung galing sa Pinas, no? Alam nyo naman, makukuha nyo yung, you can even apply now online. Mabagal nga lang sila magpadala. But you can make an application to the PSA, no? Dati po ang tawag NSO, but you can do that, no? And then, you do need that though. And you need to make sure nga that it's na hindi nga malabo, no? I come across often nga marriage contracts na napakalabo. So, siguraduhin nyo na makikita nga. Especially mga luma, when I think it was typewritten. So, make sure it is clear. No? At ang pangalang kailangan nyo, pagbayad. £593. Okay? Bayad nga. So, it's not a small amount of money. And of course, kailangan yung mga informasyon. So, kailangan address nga ni Mr. o kaya Mrs. sa atin. Nandun siya nga sa Pilipinas. Preferably with an email also. so that it can be sent more quickly. Then sometimes nga ang postal service sa atin na mabagal and it's faster, it's cheaper, no, and often easier to send documents nga by email, no. So it's quite a complex area of law if you really have to get into, the issue of yung habitual resident. Pero importante po, you must have habitual resident in the United Kingdom. Otherwise, hindi nga titignan ng korte yung application nyo. And of course, pagka-divorce na nga kayo, you can remarry in the UK. Now, kung balak nyo, gusto nyo umuwi nga sa atin, doon kayo magpapakasal, that may be a problem. Dahil nga sa atin, of course, the law says wala ngang divorce. The only way of getting rid of it potentially is yung annulment nga. And annulment, as you know, can be quite complex and can be quite long and can be quite costly. So kung balak nyo magpakasal, kung nandito naman si Mr. o Mrs. dito, then you should do it here. Kung nandun nga yung gusto nyo, yung fiancé nyo sa atin, then you may need to make an application for fiancé visa. So it's a bit strange, it's a clash of jurisdictions dahil nga dito divorce na nga kayo, dito pwede kayo magpakasal, sa atin kasal pa rin nga kayo. But the application, kung nandun nga si Mr. or si Mrs. na gusto nyo kunin dito, will actually be for fiancé visa. Strange, that you can apply for fiancé visa kung kasal ka pa nga sa atin. But of course, if they're coming into the United Kingdom, they will of course apply English law, or they have to apply English law. So ibig sabihin, they could still come into the country as a fiancé. So it's one of those really interesting, at least for me, really interesting areas of law, especially kung yung it's not just family law and in relation to divorce, but also immigration twist, and of course there are jurisdictional issues as well, so it can be quite complex. But look, ang maganda nga, you can do something about it. Pero kung hindi nyo alam, hindi kayo sigurado, ang payo ko, you should really seek legal advice. There are many areas in immigration, family law, where I say, well, it may be something that you can do yourself. But ito po, kung magdi-divorce kayo, if you have these jurisdictional issues o meron kayong immigration issue, I would take legal advice muna. And then if you really comfortable to do it nga, then of course you can see about pursuing the application. But be careful. Ingat po nga kayo. No? Now, I hope that you enjoyed that. I certainly did. But I always do. No? Mga topic nga natin. It's been 2024 has 2023 also, no? But really 2024 has proven itself to be a very challenging, interesting, legal topics. No? Ang dami. And I would say, okay, I'm quite biased, but I would say the most interesting really developments are in immigration and family law, and I suspect that will continue, in 2024. I'm sure probably also 2025. So I hope that you can continue joining us nga dito, because of course we're going to try and update you as far as often as we possibly can. So so it's big topic nga uli. Now